Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode, whoa, we just hit episode 499.
Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod, and I'm joined in a virtual room filled with some lions. I've got Chris, so welcome to the Friday show on a Friday, and I'm going to ask you, Chris, a question. Has anyone seen Arsenal? Because they're not in a, even Spurs made a cup final. Oh, beautiful. Honestly, I said I couldn't give a shit about if they made it or not. Now they're not in it, I kind of care. Oh,
yeah, do you know what? It was a lovely hate watch, wasn't it?
I didn't watch that one, and I really wish I had have, because it's one of them things where if they make it, I'm just sat there going, "Arr." So yeah. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Girls' last game of the season. Tomorrow.
Wow, that's come around quick. Oh yeah, it's May.
Yeah, I know. It's gone really, really quick. But we've had a good season. Looking to end on a high. Weather's meant to be really nice.
I know.
One of the parents will probably bring donuts or biscuits or sweets of some sort. So I'm looking forward to that after the game. That's about it, really, I think. Yeah, I've got no Sunday football, so Sunday I'll just be, usual, run some errands and watch the Chelsea game. Because we're on early, aren't we, on Sunday?
We're on at 12, half 12?
Yeah, which is weird for a Sunday.
What a fake fan I am. The fact that I didn't have a confident answer to that. I'm pretty sure it's half 12 or 12. It is 12. Yeah. See what I mean? 12 is not a normal time for a kickoff in the Premier League.
It's not.
Is there a reason for that? I was just looking at the games. Liverpool,
it's on TNT
Arsenal.
Sport.
That's 12 is weird. Is there something?
12 is weird.
We're not in European competition in the midweek because obviously obvious reasons.
Is there something? Is there another game on at 2?
Man United or West Ham, but nothing in the area. It's not like it could be like a police clash.
No, I think it must be then because Sky Sports will have the 2 o'clock and the 4:30. So we have to kick off before then because TNT have got our game.
That makes sense. What am I looking forward to this weekend? Well, listeners, I'll give you a brief. I did tease it in the Discord, but yeah, funnily enough, this is going to come up more than once today because somebody else is leaving their club after 4.5 years. But I left my job today officially after 4.5 years. It's emotional for me. So looking forward to my next club. Is that I like saying that. It's my next club. I've got a transfer, I've got a big money move.
How long, Mikey, until you release your emotional farewell video on Instagram?
I know I need to do that. I really need to do that. I did an email, and I think that counts. I think that counts. And tomorrow
it's going to get some flack on social media. That is.
Written by my agent. You know what? Tomorrow I am heading back up to Wolverhampton for Wolves Brighton. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. Games of the weekend, which I quickly edited because I missed a game out, and after the River Plate Bocca scandal I did. Well, I couldn't do that again. So GMT for you, all times GMT. You've got all eyes on the WSL finale at 12:30 tomorrow, where each team's kicking off at the same time. Title's done, relegation's done, but we're chasing history, aren't we, Chelsea women? Can they finish the season unbeaten? That's important. We've got to watch for that. 5 p.m. I'm shifting over to the Serie A. Lazio are taking on Juventus. They're level on points. They want that sweet Champions League money. Who's going to get it? I'm looking forward to that. I won't probably watch it, but I'm looking forward to it because at 6 p.m. this is where I quickly edited, because in Portugal, if I'd have missed this, you have Benfica versus Sporting CP. because they're level on points at the top, and I'd argue the winner takes the title. And I really could not
Big
miss this
game.
game out. It's huge. And then Saturday evening, if just watch some good old fashioned playoff chaos. Notts County versus AFC Wimbledon League Two's semi-final. That's 8 p.m. Sunday, set your alarm. Set your alarm, but don't sleep. You got Philadelphia Union versus the Columbus Crew. That's at 12:30 a.m. That's both teams top of the MLS Eastern. Will I watch it? No, I'll be asleep. It's not Seattle, so I won't be watching it. And then 3:15 on Sunday, El Clasico, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Will Real Madrid complain about the referee or something? They probably will. And then in the evening, Torino, Inter at 5, and then Napoli, Genoa at 7:45. That's the Scudetto race for you. I really want Napoli to do it. I really do. Inter got a Champions League final. They don't need the title. They've got,
and we have the Conte connection, don't we?
I said this in the group chat and on Discord. I think that if Conte wins the Serie A title, he becomes the greatest Serie A manager of all time. And there's a lot of big names in that league. But he'll have won it he'll have won it with Juventus, Inter, Napoli. That's impressive stuff.
That is impressive.
And he's going to do it with another club. He'll do it with somebody else.
Arguably more impressive than winning loads with one team.
Well, yeah, because he's had to build 3 different teams. And I know someone's going to argue, but Juventus, they always win the title. Andre Pirlo went to Juventus. Didn't work out for him.
Yeah. No,
Just
that's
saying.
true.
Just saying. Shevva Shoutouts. Spotify. Bloody hell. You got, honestly, I love you all. We have like 9 comments on that episode. It was amazing. Tank said, Romeo Lavia, please don't get injured again. Yep. Can't argue there. Ria, I agree that the expectations of the season have changed since the start, mainly because Maresca's pressers was such small club mentality. I think he lost a lot of fan support and it inevitably turned negative with the loser mentality he was throwing up. I think that's a very fair point. Sam,
can I just touch on that?
Yeah.
I think he's played it perfectly for what he wanted.
Oh, okay.
So we was second in the league, challenging for the title. Realistically, we probably all knew that we wasn't going to sustain a title challenge. I think we all got carried away with it because that's what you do as a fan. But we all knew that realistically we wasn't good enough to sustain a title challenge all the way to the end of the season. But he so stringently played it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then kept playing it down and kept playing it down. And even when we fell out the top 4, it was still playing it down. And we're not trying to qualify for the Champions League. And actually, what he's done now is he's made qualifying for the Champions League feel like a massive overachievement, when actually it's not an overachievement. It's just what we should be doing. But it feels now. Yeah, but it feels now like he's really achieved something special if we qualify for the Champions League, and I think that was his intention all along.
He's getting them mind games in early.
Yeah, either you fail and can tell everyone I told you so, that we wasn't ready, or I succeed and everyone goes, do you know what? He's done an outstanding job there to get that squad Champions League football.
Yeah, you know what?
So it was win-win for him.
Yeah, it's not a bad show. Sam Smith, yes, lads, thanks for another great episode. Top 5 looking good, lads. If we play as we did for the remaining games, we will be fine. Just need to hold the possession a bit better. Yeah. KP, Chris went missing, of course. I think Chris had every right to be missing on Monday, and we'll leave it there. He had every right to be. So you could feel very shitty if you knew. James, yes, Mike, I saw Thunderbolts today too. Good man. I love that film. It's bloody brilliant. Jerry,
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's worth it. It's worth it. Jerry, great show, lads. Always enjoy the content. It's fun to pick my 3 winners and losers after every game. See how many compare to yours. Missed Chris on the last show. Was waiting to hear him say, but it wasn't a real game. What was that? Who were we against? Liverpool. Was that a real game?
Yeah, that was a real game.
Yeah, I felt that was a real game. Ethan, hi lads. I hope you're well. I've not been up to much lately, but listening to the pod very often makes me feel like I'm definitely not having a quiet one. Just wanted to swing by a couple of questions. If you could pick any player from any generation and time from Chelsea and put them into a team of 11 players, who would it be and why? Bloody hell, any player. Ooh. And also, if you had an unlimited budget, which players would you sign at the most needed positions? Goalkeeper, winger, striker. Just make it in reason. We'll do that in a future transfer episode. That one. Any player at any time from Chelsea FC. Bloody hell.
So I can take any player from any time who's played for Chelsea
Yeah.
and put them in our team now.
Yeah. Ooh. Bloody hell.
It's tough because there's so many options.
What do we need? Goal scorer. You'd say Drogba. Drogba or Costa.
I think you could quite easily go for the goalkeeper. And when I say the goalkeeper, I mean literally almost any other goalkeeper we've ever had play for us.
Yeah. Even Mark Bosnich.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I think you could go for a John Terry. You could go for a Frank Lampard.
Yes.
Drogba and Costa, obvious ones. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. I can't look past Eden Hazard though.
Good shout. I've actually got one. I've just had a quick think. You said any player. Now, technically, they weren't a player, but I will go with the physio Ava Canera. Because when we had her, we never had an injury. And Romeo Lavia and Reece James right now would be fully fit. Every week you would go, they're going to be in the team because you know they're not injured. And what a medical department we used to have I think she joined in 2009. And yeah, incredible. We were brilliant medical team then was. Jamali asked, oh no, they didn't ask. I think Lavia, if he stays fit, can be top 5 midfielders in the Premier League. Ooh, not bad shout though. Funnily on that note, El House 75 rounds off the comments with Romeo Lavia is the Rodri for Maresca's system. If he stays fit next year and we keep Maresca, makes me sad because I don't see where Reece fits into the side. But if we're competing for titles, I can accept Reece leaving, I guess. I would want to move where I walk into the 11. Lots of 5 at the back in Italy. He's lessened pace. Maybe he could go be a wing back there. But if Maresca is a long-term guy, I don't know where he fits. Same with Gusto. Yeah, because look at the Caicedo experiment. Well, it's not an experiment now, it works. And Gusto and James can't really play that role like Caicedo does. It's sad. It is sad because they're incredible players.
I still think, though, at some point, maybe not next year, because I think next year, if we're going to be successful under Maresca, I think next year would be the year where he has his success. But I think longer term, I don't think that system is a long term. I think it would have to be adapted. I think eventually teams would figure out a way to exploit that space that Caicedo vacates from right back, tucking into the middle of the pitch. We had it against Everton. Everton, I said on the day, if Everton was a better team with better players, would have caused us a problem because the space on that side was too big. Yeah. And if you've got a good winger who cheats, and I think even going back to the Liverpool game, I think Liverpool really helped us by playing Gakpo out on the left, who naturally comes inside. Yeah. So he wasn't that far away.
You've said it actually, because an former Everton player, we take on this weekend. I'm going to be very interested how we deal with Anthony Gordon. Yeah, very interested.
Who's going to stretch the pitch?
Oh yeah,
constantly be wide. It's that then is the real test for this system, and it's how, if Chalobah doesn't have a brilliant game in terms of covering that space, or the player just has him beat 1-for-1. I think then everyone's looking at the system saying, no, hold on, we need more of a right back in. So it's going to flip and change each week.
Mm-hmm. Right, let's hit some news, eh? Oh, it's time of the week where we check out the news you may have missed in the elevator of Chelsea news. Chelsea have notified their interest in Morgan Rogers and are not the only Premier League club in this regard. Axel Disasi is unlikely to sign permanently with Aston Villa. Chelsea quietly turned down a big bid from Bayern Munich for Levi Colwill last summer. Cole Palmer does not have a release clause. It has been confirmed by FIFA that Chelsea's first opponent at the Summer Club World Cup will now be either LAFC or Club America. Mike Penders is likely to be sent out on loan to another club next season. Chelsea have already held more than one round of talks in their bid to land 29-year-old Frank Anguissa as a free agent this summer. And finally, for the first time in 21 years, the Champions League final will be played without a team from Spain, England and Germany. And can you tell me the last time that happened?
Without a Spain, England, or German team in the final. Is it the all-Italian one, Juve, Milan, 0-0? Absolutely dreadful.
No, you've missed out the next one.
The one after that.
That decided our future. That's how iconic that final is. It decided our future as a club.
Oh, the Porto Monaco.
Yeah. Because that was the rumour. Whoever won that final was going to be our manager, Deschamps or Mourinho. And that
I still think when you look back, that is the fucking weirdest Champions League final ever.
Well, Porto back-to-back champion. They won the UEFA Cup that it was called then. And then won the Champions League next year. It's like, how often does that happen?
You look at that, neither of those two teams should have been in the final.
Monaco went on an absolute tear, didn't they? They had Morientes and bloody Dado Perso and Rudiger.
They ripped us apart, to be fair, in that semi-final.
Mm.
I always wonder with that, like when you look back now at like turning points, what would have happened if we'd beat Monaco in that semi-final
and we played
Mourinho in that final?
I mean, if I read the names out, that just for some bit of nostalgia, you've got Victor Bayer, Paulo Ferreira, Jorge Costa, Carvalho, Valente, Costina, Pedro Mendes, Manish, Deco, Carlos Alberto, Durley. And on the bench is my favourite because I get to say, oh, look, Nino Espirito Santo. Oh, it's just an incredible team. And
you know what? You don't get that anymore, do you? You wouldn't get those players as a collective, as like a group of that many good players playing for a team like Porto now. They would have moved on to someone who would pay them more money.
Yeah, and it was also the year as well when you surprised teams, Deportivo La Coruña. I mean,
yeah, and what a team they was.
Incredible. Right, we've got an interesting story. I will touch on something with Kings Meadow Corner in a minute. From some dude called Steve K over at Football Transfers, who, and I've brought it up because it's great. It's great for the title in the episode, and why not? Let's entertain it. He understands that Chelsea are exploring a bit of a shock move to bring back Antonio Rudiger. And we're understood to be ready to negotiate if given the green light for a move that would reunite him with his former club after 3 years apart. Rudiger is apparently happy at Real Madrid, but a change of scenery could be needed, with sources close to the player informing us that the 32-year-old has become increasingly difficult to deal with in recent months. One source familiar with recent developments revealed it's been tense, he's clashed with people in his inner circle, and it's made discussions on certain matters extremely difficult. Most notably, Rudiger is said to have fallen out of his brother and agent just before Christmas. The exact reason for the dispute is unknown, but it became so heated that the Los Blancos star threatened to cut ties entirely. It sounds like any kid in his family home just had an argument with his family, and he's like, "I want to leave." It does. I mean, this could be total bullshit, and it probably is. If it's a duck, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck sort of thing. This probably is bullshit. I thought I'd entertain it. I would love it. I just don't know how it's going to happen because we're going to have to pay a fuckload of money. He's going to be a high earner straight away. And the thing is, we don't even, I mean, that's just so vague to say a change of scenery could be needed. How much money are we going to pay him? What do you think?
I would love it. I loved Rudiger. And that's the sort of experience we need at the back. He instantly elevates our defence if he came back in. I think him as a player, what he would get from the others around him is exactly what we need. I think that is a signing that would elevate the team straight away.
Yeah,
we won't pay him his wage. We won't pay him his wages, so I can't see how that's going to happen. We seem to be phasing out all the high earners, if anything. You know, you look at the whole Reece James situation, Is that because Maresca doesn't see him fit in the system, or is that because there's pressure from the board above to make him seem surplus so we can get another high earner off the books? Just like we've done with Sterling and Chilwell, and basically anyone who earns over 100 grand a week is basically being told, yeah, you've got to leave.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he would trade Real Madrid for us at the moment.
He's
Like,
won
I'm not being
everything.
funny.
He's bored.
Yeah, but I think, I think if he was going to go from Real Madrid, a return to Germany, with, a Bayern or a Leverkusen, a Dortmund, would seem more likely. Even maybe a return to Italy because he played for Roma, didn't he? So
he wouldn't go to Dortmund because they're financially, they seem to be fucked.
yeah, I just don't know why he would come back to the Premier League at his age to a team that's so in transition. And really, at the moment, we're a level below Rudiger.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
And I've seen fans comment going, well, he left us. Please go back to what he said. He literally states that he didn't hear anything from August till January about negotiations of his contract.
Yeah,
so straight
also,
away, and then obviously the sanctions. What's he meant to do?
He wasn't allowed to sign a contract with us. He literally had to leave anyway.
Yeah, we obviously, like, that was all that bullshit.
Because we wasn't
won't go
allowed
into it,
to offer him a contract.
No. And I totally understand on the human side, if you haven't had any contract talk from your obviously your club since August, and it's now January, and you're starting to think, mate, I've got like a few months left on my deal. I kind of want to continue my career. And then the sanctions hit. You're going to panic because you really could. I know he's going to get snapped up by a big club, but the thing is, he has no reason to stay and wait it out, because what if, here's an example. What if we didn't offer him that contract? Our new ownership, Bowley, etc., don't offer him that contract. And then he sat there and he's already said no to Real Madrid. They've moved on to another target. And then you're desperate for a club to pick you up.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I understand the human element. Quick trip to Kingsmeadow Corner. I say it's a quick trip because I'm going to cry. We found out this week. We found out today, essentially, that Sophie Ingle and Zasira Musovic will both leave the club at the end of their contracts. The club said after 214 appearances, 12 goals and 11 memorable trophies lifted, Sophie Ingle will leave Chelsea at the end of her contract. She joined in 2012, left for Bristol Academy, and then returned to Chelsea in 2018 from Liverpool. The Welsh international has helped the Blues win 5 WSL titles during her second spell with the club, 3 FA Cups, 2 League Cups and the Community Shield. And of course, after 4.5 years as a Chelsea player, I know that feeling, not as a player, Zasira Musovic will leave the club at the conclusion of this campaign. She arrived from Rosengard in January 2021, lifted 10 trophies during her time in blue, and established herself on the international stage with Sweden. Oh, man. Oh, Chris, I know both of them going to be missed for very, very different reasons, of course. I mean, oh, man. What do you think? You're the man with this. What do you think?
I think the Sophie Ingle one is inevitable. I think it's such a shame that her last season with us has gone this way, with her getting injured and missing the whole season. It's a horrible way for her to go because she deserves so much better.
In a friendly as well, that ACL.
Yeah. When I first started really watching the Chelsea women, when my daughter got into it, I remember the first game we went to watch live, I couldn't believe how good Sophie Ingle was. Unbelievable player. Dictating the play from that deep line playmaker position. So good on the ball, never gave it away, always available for a pass. So underrated, the work that she did in that midfield. So it is a shame, but it's inevitable when you look at her age and the fact that we've coped this whole season without her and actually brought in other players to replace her who are younger because we've had to at a time when she wasn't available through no fault of her own, but that's football. The Musovic one doesn't sit well with me, I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
to release a player to not offer a player a contract.
No, they did. They offered her a deal and she said no.
Oh, that changes things then. I wasn't aware of that.
I look, listeners know that Zasira Musovic is my favourite women's player, and I was devastated seeing that. I've got her kit. She's messaged our podcast before, and oh man, I'm gutted.
Yeah, I'm glad about that though, because it didn't sit right if we hadn't offered her a new contract, considering she's having a baby.
She is indeed. And
what people don't realise is that these aren't multimillionaires like men for male footballers. Like it's a job to them.
No, you're right.
They literally need the money. So that didn't sit right. But if she's turned down the deal, then she's obviously got something else lined up.
Yeah.
To continue making a living. So that's fine. I completely get it. If that's how she's wanted to go, because she sees herself as a number one, and she is good enough to be a number one, but she's not going to be our number one.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it. Like, being a number two goalkeeper is so hard because you don't get the opportunities that outfield players get. Like, an outfielder will get 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and they might come on and do something special and then force their way into the team. Backup keepers don't get that. You get played in. Yeah, you get played in the odd cup game, or you're hoping. In a way, you're hoping for an injury to the first choice keeper just so you get a chance. But she wasn't ever going to be our number one. Hannah Hampton has solidified her place as our number one, and she's young enough that she's going to be our number one for years to come. So I completely back her going away and playing somewhere, because she's too good to be a number two.
You know what? It's so different, and the only thing I can think of is, look at it, very different scenario. But when we had Cech and Courtois, we've got two number one goalkeepers there. And you'd love to, on FIFA, you can do that. Not in real life. You can't do it. And I watched her goodbye message, and she talks a lot about how she was so upset to leave her family in Sweden. And I started to picture it. This is my opinion. Doesn't mean it's actually the truth. It's just my opinion. I wonder if she's going to return to Sweden and have her family grow up there. I wonder if that could be the next move.
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Because it's so weak. You have to remember the human element as well. Like, for me, let's just say I'm playing in Spain and I'm about to be a dad for the first time. I'm going to think I might want to be back in my home country, be around my family, because they're not everybody moves with you to your new country where you're going to be living and working. So, exactly. And the Sophie Ingle thing, one thing that I loved, and I will read it, one little bit from the statement was, Sophie will remain under contract until she completes her rehab from an ACL injury. And I think that just shows the player-friendly policy with Chelsea. There's that proper human element, because we're not going to be throwing you off to the wreckage whilst you recover. You're going to recover fully, and then you can go get your new club. And I think that's really good.
I think that is brilliant. That's exactly how a club should operate.
We're bloody
in
good
this
at
situation, because, like I said, it wouldn't be the same in the men's team, because they are paid hundreds of thousands of pounds per week. It's completely different. So they can support themselves for probably a few years without a club. They could live quite comfortably based on the money they've already made. It's not the same. It's not like that in the women's game. So the fact that we are looking after on the human side, fair play.
100%. Right. Well, we move from the news to a midweek match report, because what did Chelsea do? Well, Chelsea also need me to get the folder up so I can play the clip. But Chelsea took on Djurgarden in the Conference League semi-final. Second leg. The lights were on, the kids were out, and Chelsea tiptoed into the UEFA Conference League final with all the suspense of a bedtime story. 1-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate, a cruise control performance dressed up like a developmental showcase. Enzo Maresca, clearly in Sunday's the real one mode, rang up 10 changes and handed the stage over to the youth orchestra. Enter Reggie Walsh, 16 years old, apparently still has to ask permission to stay up past 9. And now he's Chelsea's youngest ever European starter. He was calm, composed, and the kind of player who looks like he downloaded Maresca's playbook into his brain during lunch break. Tyreek George added some sauce with a cheeky backheel that eventually teed up Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who twisted through the Swedish defence like a man weaving through tourists in Soho, and tucked it home like a pro who's been doing this since dial-up internet. Djurgarden, they brought a team, but they might have left the belief on the runway. Rin tried to impersonate a modern sweeper keeper, but was caught out like a guy checking his phone and walking into a lamppost. Maresca played the hits post-game. He's in love with Reggie Walsh, reminded everyone the kid has school tomorrow, and quietly grinned knowing Raul Batiste awaits in the final. A proper step-up in opponent. But this night was about the Cobham kids, and they passed the test. No homework required. Oh, Chelsea 1. Djurgarden 0. Winners and losers, and we always kick off with winners. But in total, who have you got and how many have you got, Chris?
I've got 3 and 3.
I got 3 and 2. I really struggled with the losers, which is nice. It's nice to not have, a long list of losers. You know what? I've got someone's winners. Is it Ollie's or Chris's? But Ollie's or Births even. I've got somewhere. Let me have a look. I did check it today and I completely lost it. It's Ollie. I've got Ollie's. So, my first winner, and he's also clearly on Ollie's, because I can see the name. I've got Reggie Walsh.
He's on mine too.
Yeah, I mean, did you know he's 16 and 200 days old? As they repeatedly told me, youngest player ever to feature for Chelsea in a European competition. He took Djurgarden to school, and then today he literally went to school. That's mad in itself. I was like, what the fuck? Oh man, I feel old. I mean, he was so composed. He was so good on the ball. He picked out the run of Tyreek George as well with the vision of a seasoned pro. And he got really stuck into the game, crunching tackles. I was excited. He's 16, and he's doing that. I don't care that it was against Djurgarden. That's impressive for me.
Absolutely. Biggest compliment I can give to him is he didn't look like a 16-year-old.
No,
He didn't stand out as a youngster who was having his hand held through the game. I thought first half especially, I thought he looked like our best player.
yeah,
On the ball, off the ball. Yeah, the standard of the opposition was poor, but I just want to reiterate to people that that's a young player.
yeah,
A 16-year-old who's still at school, he's young. We can start talking about him as a young player. And this is why I get so annoyed when people talk about someone who's 21 being young. You're not young in football at 21. You're just not. That's just the reality of it. You're young in life, but you are not young in football at 21. 16 is young. And honestly, to see what he did at 16 was frightening. I thought he was so impressive. His decision making, the way he moves, the areas he occupies. He's playing against grown men and didn't look out of place at all. And he could be very, very special if we manage him properly.
yeah. Ollie said very happy for the lads at so young and boss parts of the game very mature. I'd 100% agree with all of you. Like I said, he's 16, and I'm watching him thinking, you're the one player of the whole lot that's standing out right now. I couldn't quite believe it. Like I expected him to have a flash of brilliance maybe now and then. I didn't expect him to be standing out. And that, I was like, fair play, dude. I'm excited.
One of the other compliments was how often his teammates gave him the ball.
Oh, yes.
You're playing with players like Cucurella, Reece James, Jadon Sancho, and they're giving you the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not as like a token gesture. They was trying to find him, actively trying to get him on the ball, which shows the level of trust they must have in him and what they must have seen at training.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. My second. Oh no, I haven't finished. I've got one more thing about Reggie. And I watching him gave me some shades of Billy Gilmore when he first broke through. that fearlessness, that confidence.
Yes.
And I've seen some fans actually compare him to a young Dennis Wise or Deco. And I thought, you know what? That's not. Look, I can't pretend I watched Dennis Wise in his prime. I watched him at Millwall. That's my actual living memory of him, and that's not fair because he was a very bloody good player back in his day. So he's one for the future. And honestly, I can't wait to see what he might play in the last 3 games. I doubt it. Because of But if you're good enough, you'll play. That's the thing, isn't it? My second winner, I've got Enzo Maresca. Back to back appearances on my winners list, and I want to put to bed this nonsense that I've read about there's some sort of agenda from me or this podcast on him. There isn't, because why is he a winner? We're in a European final. Yes, I have seen the, and it's more only rival fans, but so what? That was the expectation. Yeah, you're right. It was the expectation. But so is boiling an egg properly, and people still manage to mess that up.
Hard.
Look, fulfilling expectations isn't easy, especially with the pressure at Chelsea. And I've got to give him credit because he ticked the box. He did. And it's how he ticked the box as well last night. He trusted the youth. We saw Reggie Walsh, we saw Josh Champong, we saw Tyreek George, Shim Muka, we saw Genesis Antwi. They all got meaningful minutes under bright lights of a European semi-final. Shim played a full 45, Genesis got 20, and it weren't like, here you go, kid, minutes for 5 minutes at the end. They got 20 and 40. That's big minutes, and they contributed. And it's easy to talk about a pathway, but Maresca sort of built that road and let them walk it. Credit where it's due. That experience could shape their playing futures. And I think with that, the fact that he brought them on early and not just like in the dead garbage time, as I call it, I think that was a spot on decision, which is why he's a winner.
I think that's completely fair. The only thing I will say is I've seen a lot of people praising Maresca for how he's gave so many youth team players their debut, but he has been in a ridiculously privileged position to be playing games in a competition that we should be absolutely nowhere near. The real test as to whether he's someone who is going to bring youth players through will be next season if we're in the Champions League.
Yes.
And there's no dead rubber games against teams who are like, the equivalent of a Sunday League team, where you could literally play anybody and we would win the game. Will he then still be giving minutes to these players? And that's the real test of any manager. Can they bring through youth players when there is no dead rubber games to play? I hope so, because I think we've seen from this game that there's certainly talent there. And I think, we all know that one of the best things that ever happened was the transfer ban. And we got forced into a corner where we had to give Reece James, Mason Mount, Tamori, Tammy Abraham those debuts. We didn't have any choice, and it worked out brilliantly for us. Either they play for us or we've made money selling them on after good service in the meantime. Like, that's the model to go with. I just hope we continue to do it when the games are real games.
Yeah. I mean, our academy's always produced talent. You got Declan Rice, Michael Elise, Levi Colwill. I'm going to put him in. Conor Gallagher, I'm putting him in there. Reece James, Tino Livramento, Lewis Hall, Mason Mount. I know. Look, it doesn't matter what he did. When he was at Chelsea,
Billy Gilmore.
Exactly. I mean, he might win the Scudetto. I mean, that's just madness. So the talent's always been there, and we're very blessed to have that academy. I mean, there's a player, I know we signed him from Southampton, but we still had him for a little bit, Tyler Diblin. I mean, there was talk of him for 100 million. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
Oh, mad. Who's your second winner?
I've just got youngsters. I think all of them did well. I think that Antwi.
Wow. Genesis.
Yeah, wow. So positive, so good on the ball, so direct. Raw, as you would expect for someone of his age.
Yeah.
But he's another one who he's a player. He gets fans off their seat. And that is what I always look at in an attacker. Are you an attacking player who is relatively safe and secure and reliable in terms of in possession of the ball? Your touch is good, your decision making's good, you'll keep the ball, you'll keep things ticking over, you'll be part of the machine. Or are you someone who, when you get the ball, fans, even without thinking, stand up in an expectation of something to happen? And he looked like one of them. And those are the special players. That's the difference between the two. When you can see two young attacking players playing, there'll be one who you'll think is safe, reliable, secure, will go on and have a good career. And then there's ones who you think they could be special. They could be world beaters, because when they get the ball, fans get excited and defenders get worried. And that one bit of skill where he nutmegged the defender in the box, I thought that is insane to do off the bench. Hadn't barely touched the ball before then. So direct, so positive, and that's what I love to see from young players. And I thought he was brilliant in particular.
I'll finish off Ollie's losers because he's got a sentence for each. Got confident losers, winners. Sorry, winners. Confidence. See how negative the agenda on this podcast. Confidence in the semi-finals. That's all that matters. Getting through to the final is important. And Tyreek George, good pass for the Dewsbury Hall goal. And I'm glad you said that, because I've got Kieran Dewsbury Hall on my final.
So have I.
Oh, brilliant! I mean, fair play to him. You know, he had a good game. And the goal was great. Yeah, it really was. I mean, it's a top finish, no complaints. And I got to call it how I see it. It credit where it's due. You know, he put in a good shift. He looked confident. The finish was lovely. I know it's Djurgarden, and someone's going to say, yeah, look, he's probably not going to be on our books next season. However, he's playing in a European semi-final. And I'm telling you, clubs will lap that up. And he will probably get a move to a club where he can play week in, week out. And we'll all go, oh, fair play. Because he's not been a dickhead. He's played and he's done his best. Yeah, at times he's been a bit shit, but he's always done his best. And he's not been a dick about it. And he will move on and he will play for another club and we'll go, oh, yeah, cool. And we'll probably, he won't be like Mason Mount, where we see him play and go, oh, what a prick. We'll see Dewsbury and go, oh, bloody hell, Dewsbury, did he score? He did. Oh, that's good. Oh, good for him. You know, why is he a winner for you?
I have huge respect for Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Do I rate him as a player still? No. Do I think he's good enough for us? No. Do I still think it was a ridiculously pointless signing? Yes. But I don't think you can have anything but respect for him. Like you just said, the way he's handled himself this season, coming in for 30, 35 million, whatever it was, being brought in as, you know, the manager's boy as well. I don't think he's ever easy to follow a manager to a club. Because I think there's always a stigma to that, probably within the dressing room and definitely within the fan base.
Jorginho,
Jorginho suffered from it more than anybody. I don't think he ever shook it off for his whole Chelsea career. Ridiculously from some, to be honest. But the way Dewsbury Hall has carried himself, he hasn't moaned, he hasn't kicked off. And every time he's played in this competition against opposition, which he is too good for, he's still far too good for this competition. He plays it like he's playing in the Champions League. And I think that's been infectious to other players throughout the competition. I think the one thing you would say about us in this competition has been the players who have played have taken the game seriously. We've had the odd one or two where it looks like we don't really want to be there. But on the whole, I think the professionalism of the players who have played in this competition has been really good. And I think Dewsbury Hall was the driving force of that at the start. I mean, he was the one who, he was playing it like a Premier League game because he's trying to force his way in. And I respect a player who keeps giving it a go, he'll never be good enough to play in this team. But you know what? If he was to get some minutes now, if he's getting brought off the bench on Sunday against Newcastle, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, for fuck's sake, not Dewsbury Hall. So he's earned some credibility, I think, and I think he deserves credit for that. And I thought he took his goal brilliantly. And
yeah.
I think hasn't he scored in like the last 3 games in this competition now or something? Like he hasn't done badly at all, really. I think it's been really good for him to still put himself in the shot window, like you said. And I do think he'll get a decent move after this. And I think he'll go on and be a fine mid-table Premier League player.
Yeah, I mean, he turns 27 in 6th of September, so he's kind of in like his prime years as a player. And yeah, I wouldn't stay at Chelsea. Like you could win some trophies.
You know where
this year.
he'd be great? Brentford.
I can see that.
He'd be great at a Brentford. Like, they're mid-table, but they could push for Europe. He's a grafter with quality, and Brentford are full of them, I think. Sort of Brentford's MO, that is. Hard workers with quality.
We're a big fan of that club.
Yeah, I like Brentford. I really do like Brentford. I think he would be good there. I honestly do think he would be really good for Brentford.
Losers. Oh dear. I'll go with my first one. I've got Chelsea 1, Djurgarden 0. Because honestly, that game had less energy than a wet tea bag. I'm not even being dramatic. The second half was like sleep-inducing. It was just 45 minutes of just low tempo and like, let's not do anything stupid. Let's not pick up an injury, which I get. But it was like the football equivalent of cookies and warm milk. It was comforting, slow, and it was guaranteed to make you yawn, and it did.
Yeah,
but that's kind. I'm not the only fan who said this, but the point is, it was don't mess it up. We didn't. I can't complain, but I had to go silly with some of my losers because it was a really difficult game to pick losers in.
Yeah,
Chris, you do have losers, and I'm very curious about yours.
Well, I'll drop a spoiler now. I've got 3 losers. None of them are players.
Oh, you're all right. Let's see that listener, no agenda.
Because I don't think we had anyone have a bad game. I don't think we had anyone have a. I don't think we had many have particularly great games. I don't think it was a good game. I think, like you said, it was probably the most pointless game I've ever seen. So my first loser is UEFA.
Oh,
I think on the face of it, UEFA at the start in the summer was probably buzzing to have a club like Chelsea, 2-time European champions in the Conference League, for the draw and the pull and the glamour of it. I think as it's gone on, every time we've won a game, we have done unreputable harm to this competition.
Oh, wow.
And it's not our fault. I'm not blaming us because like I said, as a club and as a team and as players and as coaches, you have to do what you have to do. You have to be professional and you beat what's in front of you. I don't know if we win the final comfortably. If we was to go and beat Betis 3-4-1, and it be a relatively comfortable, quite boring final, I don't think this competition ever recovers.
Oh, wow.
From our campaign in it, because everyone hated the idea of this competition when they first launched it. The backlash was massive for this competition and how pointless it was. But then you had some good games, you had some good ties, you had teams like Villa in it who their fans couldn't believe that they was in a European semi-final. You had clubs like West Ham, Fiorentina, fans absolutely buzzing to get to finals. Rome went absolutely fucking mad when they won this competition. And all of a sudden, everyone went, well, actually, it's serving its purpose. It's doing what it was intended. It's giving teams who wouldn't normally have a chance at winning European trophies a chance to win a European trophy and give their fans that experience.
Yeah.
And I think it built up some credibility in the world. And we've absolutely slaughtered it because we have literally cakewalked the entire competition to a point now where everyone is asking the question again, what's the point of it? And I think they've got to be so careful with this competition going forward about if a team like Chelsea or an Arsenal or a Manchester City have a shit season and end up finishing 6th and getting Conference League, do we push them out? Do we put a cap on UEFA coalition points? Like if you've got more than this many coalition points, even if you qualify through your league, you can't enter this competition. It has to be kept sacred to what it was intended for the smaller teams within those nations to have a chance at European glory, not a team who's won two Europa Leagues and 2 Champions Leagues to come in and win it. We've made a mockery of it.
We feel like Darth Vader and everybody else is the younglings in the Jedi Temple in Revenge of the Sith. It's kind of like that. It's wrong, and people will meme us forever. But it does feel like the teams we've taken on. Like I'd say the final, Real Betis is the first proper game we're going to get. Like I'm not. Everyone knows I have a very big love for Denmark and the Danish teams. Copenhagen are not a better team than Real Betis or Fiorentina. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say no. They would lose. So
they have a team you only ever would have seen in the Champions League group stages.
Yeah, that's the fact.
Getting knocked out.
Yes, sadly so. My second. Actually, no. I'm going to go to Ollie. Let's read his off. He's got 3 losers.
Why not?
So first he's got youth, and I was like, what? Why? Yeah, he said dead rubber game. Would have liked to see more youngsters if possible. Now, Ollie's not on the show to defend himself.
4 of them, didn't we?
Well, I'll tell you who didn't get on the pitch from the bench. Now, you can tell me. This is why I'm a little bit annoyed at him, and I am a little bit annoyed. So we had Lucas.
Can't wait for Ollie to listen to this.
Lucas Bergstrom. Okay, all right. He's goalkeeper.
Isn't he like 23 or something now?
I thought you were going to say, is he like 23 foot tall? He's 6'9", and I love saying that. He's 6'9", man. Robert Sanchez, Levi Colwill, Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Jackson, Madueke, and Neto. Who the fuck did you want us to bring on? Come on.
I think maybe his point was
the academy.
They shouldn't even have been on the bench.
Okay.
We should have had maybe a full youth bench.
Anthony,
which I do get, to be fair.
Yeah. Anthony, he's going to get locked up by Cucurella in the final. Let's hope so. And final loser, he's put Sancho. Fewest passes of all the midfielders, wingers, 1 shot off target, no accurate cross against Djurgarden. Not good enough.
I do agree with him on Sancho. I did think in a game like that, he got completely outshone by 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and he looked poor. What I didn't like, what I saw from Sancho, no appetite for the game.
Very different to Dewsbury Hall, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I mean, because you're still trying to force your way into being a regular starter. You can't come here and just knock about, mate. You have to treat it like a real game. He should have walked off the pitch having scored a goal and got an assist minimum.
I can't disagree there. You make a good point. My second and final loser, and you can round off your losers, Chris. I've got Reality. Reality's a loser because we've got PSG in a Champions League final without Mbappe, without Messi, and without Neymar. You've got Spurs being 1 game away from winning a trophy. You've got Antony in a European final. Harry Kane's
Ballon d'Or contention.
Well, I couldn't disagree. I mean, everyone's talking about Ousmane Dembele. I think that's a joke when you've got Antony doing what Antony's doing.
Yeah.
He survived Man United. Dembele hasn't done that. Harry Kane's actually won trophy. We're not living in a reality. We've stumbled into some glitch in the multiverse, Timelines are colliding right now, listener. The dogs and cats are living together. It's been chaos in football. Do I think Spurs will win that final? Probably not. Do I think PSG will win the Champions League? I wouldn't be shocked. Isn't it interesting that we're celebrating multi-million, billion-pound PSG as an underdog story?
Yeah. It's weird, that, isn't it?
We've all forgot that they have billions in the bank, but it's underdog story. Look at them all. Oh, isn't it fun? They've paid a lot of money for those players, but okay. Chris, who are your losers? Who are your losers?
Well, I've got Djurgarden. I think they are the worst team we played in this competition, except Noah.
They just won the title, I think Noah did.
How how they was in the semi-final, I just don't know. I don't know what happened to get them there because honestly, they was absolutely fucking woeful. Their fans are great. Fair play to their fans. Heard them singing all game, even though the game was absolutely nothing. But yeah, as a team, Jesus Christ. To be 4-1 down, they had literally zero chance of coming and winning 3-0. We know that. But at least come and try. Like, I would have had more respect for them if they'd come, had a real go, and we beat them 6-2. I'd have thought, fair play though. They come and had a go. They scored twice. They caused us some problems. They left themselves wide open at the back and we killed them. Fine. I would have had more respect for them. To come and do what they did, but just literally come, played it out like Soccer Aid, and then left. It was like, what was the point of that? Yeah, I lost all respect for them. And the fact a 16-year-old can look that good against them should tell you everything about their team, to be honest.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I think they're laughing in a sense because I think they've picked up just over £13 million in prize money. And I think that's the
yeah,
highest.
I must be buzzing their tits off.
I think that's the highest in Sweden because I don't know if Malmo got through to. Did they get through to? Look at me, I'm Mr. Scandinavia over here, and I'm like, did they get through? Because Malmo won. Was it AIK that won the title last season? I say that like we should know this.
And I'm not like they shouldn't have been playing us, should they? That's what I was just saying about the whole competition. Yeah. They shouldn't have met us. So no. I'm not having a go at them for getting beat easily. I'm saying the worst thing about them was they let it happen. They didn't try anything else. They just came, lost, and went.
Oh, Malmo got to the Europa League group stage. Hammarby got to, where did they get to? Did they get into the group? I'm going to assume they didn't. Let's have a look. No, I don't think they did. No, they didn't. So, AIK, where did they get? Let's have a look. Did they get through? No. So there's that, isn't it? So yeah, they put tons of money.
Yeah, fair play to them. And then my last loser, it's the fans. For having to go and watch it. The most pointless European second leg, semi-final second leg in history. I think we could have not turned up and they still wouldn't have beat us 3-0.
They could have put us on the pitch.
Yeah, I honestly, I think you could have got a group of fans, and I don't think we lose that game 3-0. So yeah, such a pointless game, and because it was such a pointless game, and because it was already dead, and because they came and did absolutely nothing, and the game was so drab and just boring, like a pre-season friendly or a charity game. When the whistle went and we was in the final, everyone just stood up and went home. There was no celebration. It didn't feel like any sort of achievement, and it's not really. Let's be fair, it's not a massive achievement to get to the final. Like, we should be there. But for those young lads on the pitch, you would have liked it to have been more of a game where, yes, we've gone through to the final, but there was moments in the game, maybe 20 minutes to go. You're thinking, I'll tell you what, if they score now, though, we're in trouble. I just would have preferred it to be more of a game.
Okay, yeah, I can understand your point. We'll do an emoji game review. I went with the timer emoji because we now have to wait to see if we complete the European trophy set. I did also see some fans going, can you imagine Real Madrid wanting to win the Europa League and the Conference League? I don't care what Real Madrid are doing. I care what Chelsea are doing. And we might complete the set. Let's brag about it while we can. Arsenal can't brag about a single European trophy. So,
I think you should just try and win every competition that you're in anyway, regardless of what it is.
That's kind of the point of football, isn't it?
Yeah, that is literally the point in playing.
Arsenal went for years going top four. Top four is not a trophy. It's impressive. It's not a trophy though. No one cares about top four. They care about trophies. And I stand
Yeah.
by that. What have you got,
Uh,
Chris?
I'm going to go with the mobile phone because I did spend more time on my
Oh,
phone than watching the game
oh no.
just because it was such a pointless game.
You know what? I didn't. I didn't touch my phone once, and that was because where was I? I was in the bloody awesome Discord. We were on the match day chat. Some great company as always, and I need to make that more of a theme when we're playing in. 'Cause usually on the weeks, I can usually jump in, and on weekends less so. But yeah, it was good. It was enjoyable. It really was. Well, I guess it is time for line of the week, midweek picks. Let's have a look. What did we get? Because I can't remember. So. Berth went with Tyreek George. I went with Sancho, for fuck's sake. Oh no, not again.
Oh, Mikey's had a mare.
Oh. Ollie had a laugh. Ollie, you had Reggie Walsh and the wheel went Tosin. Look, Ollie's won and Reggie
Well
was.
done, Ollie. Fair fucking play.
Ollie's that good. We've not got Reggie Walsh, right, on our actual board of picks you could have.
Wow.
Because, let's be honest, did anyone think he'd be here? No.
No.
No, he's just replaced David Washington, who was in the list. So
Can I
Reggie's
just before we move on from this game,
Hmm.
just to because it's came up with Berth, just to touch on Tyreek George.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that good.
Well,
I thought it was the first time where his decision making was quite poor. He was quite selfish. It was almost like he didn't respect the opposition. Yeah, fair play. But it's like he didn't respect the opposition, so was trying too much. I thought it was a little bit disappointing from him, actually.
hmm. Well, hopefully he'll turn up this weekend because Super Sunday lunchtime, heading up north. We're taking on Newcastle. Yeah, here's the state of Newcastle. They currently sitting on top of us in fourth. They have a record of 19 wins, 6 draws, 10 defeats. In the recent form, 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. Who should we keep an eye on? Look, most everyone's going to go, it's Alexander Isak, and I would rightfully agree. However, I think all eyes, usually it's who you should keep an eye on. Now, we all know Isak, we know him. I think Jacob Murphy, because he's their highest assist creator this season. He's 30. I don't think you should sleep on this player. I think you should keep an eye on him because it could be dangerous if we don't, keep an eye. The last time Newcastle beat Chelsea in the Premier League was, oh dear, it was the 25th of November 2023. Wouldn't be a preview without me telling you that the UK #1 hit when that last happened was Lovin' on Me by Jack Harlow. And I do know of this song, and it's the one that goes on about whips and chains and you can't tie me down. And I'm not going to sing it because someone said, oh, the singing's back last week. So you've just lost out some good karaoke. I'm going in early. I've gone Palmer because he's back. Yeah, he's not going to Sancho me here. Palmer, who have you got?
Oh, tough game to call this. But I think when you play Newcastle, especially away at St James's, I think midfield is absolutely key. So I'm gonna go with Lavia. I was tempted to go Enzo Fernandez then, but I'm gonna go Lavia.
Nice. The wheel has gone. Why have you Jadon Sancho?
Unlucky wheel.
Yeah, you know what? Romeo Lavia. Oh, he's still. I was just checking if he was on the wheel. He is. Interesting. Wheel went with Sancho. Interesting. Quaresma's questions. So out comes the phone. Let's have a look. What have we got? We've got Hill Woos, so I'm guessing he's Will Hughes. Cobham's a winner. More than half the team on the field at one point were academy graduates. Yeah, that's why they fully deserved it. They were incredible. Matt, what's the vibe going into St James's Park? Didn't see starting 11 last match. Hope they're ready. I think it's because we beat Liverpool and Palmer looked Palmer. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the game, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying a few weeks ago before the Fulham game.
I agree. I think the vibe's positive. I think the fans are confident. I think the players are confident. And I think we're catching Newcastle at a time where they've just started to wobble. They haven't played well in their last 3 games. Dropped points last weekend, which opened the door for us, I think, which puts more of an incentive on the game. Yeah, I think we're doing it again. I think we're gonna hit form in the last 5 games, and we're just like last season, and we're doing it again. We can't keep doing it. We can't keep having 33 shit games and then 5 good ones. But yeah, I think if you was to ask me now, I don't know whether we lose another game.
Wow. Now that is something.
If we can get through this game with I'd even take a draw here. I think if we come away with a positive result from St James's Park, I think we win our last 3.
Okay. And finally, we have got Cal. Thoughts on EAFC's women's team of the season. Now, just so you know, we've got Shaw, Russo. I'm going to pronounce this terribly. Hang on. Mariona, Nushkin, Letitia, Bronze, McCarb, Fowler, Tullis-Joyce, Bright, Clinton, and then honourable mentions we had Toon, Baltimore, and Cannerid. A lot of Chelsea players in that. A lot of Chelsea players.
Nuskin's an interesting one.
Some people had gone, why is Hampton not in there? Tullis-Joyce is literally the highest with clean sheets, and I think statistically she's been better. Statistically, she has. I can't really argue with that, as much as I would love Hannah in there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Shaw's still top scorer, I think.
I don't think it's far off. I don't think it's far off, to be honest.
Who decides it? Is it fans that vote it?
Who fucking knows with EA?
Because it was when what did I see? I saw. I mean, Baltimore had to. I think Baltimore being an honourable mention is an insult. I think she should have been in the first team proper because she has been the signing of the WSL season. For me, the signing of the season. Because she's walked into the team, played in a role that we weren't sure she was any good at because that's not her natural position. And she's just owned it. It's like, bloody hell. Like Marcus Alonso and Victor Moses when they were wing backs and we're like, bloody hell. When Baltimore plays, we've created so much. And, I think...
She has been. And in a new position. I think she has been brilliant, to be fair.
Yeah, I think the only player I feel like should have got... I don't know how many honourable mentions you can do. I think, obviously, it's dominated by Arsenal, Man United, and obviously Chelsea and City. The top teams. It would have been nice to see a non-top team player like Shakira Martinez of West Ham. I think that would have been nice.
Or there's been a few from Brighton who have had a good season.
Oh, yeah. They had one of the great transfer windows. It's the thing. You look at the table and I'll read it. It goes 57, 45, 44, 40, 28. So you can see the point differential. You're like,
yeah,
geez.
You can see the point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. It's pretty mad. Right. Well, listeners, we can't do Loan Army Carousel because no one's here.
So I win again.
You win again. So we're at the end of our episode, and before we go, proud to remind you about our partnership with Head in the Game, the mental health charity using football to support wellbeing and community. Check them out, headinthegame.co.uk. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Monday because we've got Newcastle to review, and of course the WSL finale. So till next time, that is going to be us signing off. You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.